Fireworks. On the southern front, operators from the Flying Skull Battalion identified Russian personnel unloading ammunition near a fortified warehouse. After confirming coordinates, a Ukrainian MiG-29 delivered a precise AASM hammer strike, destroying the depot and troops. In the past 48 hours, Ukrainian aviation has destroyed bridges and pontoon crossings, 4 UAV launchers, 2 command posts, communication systems, watercraft, and numerous Russian personnel using AASM hammer-guided bombs launched by MiG-29s. Ukrainian drones targeted Russia's Tatarstan overnight on the 10th of June, with explosions heard and drones seen in the cities of Yelabuga and Nizhnekamsk, over 1,200 kilometers from Ukraine's border. Russian authorities responded by grounding flights at multiple airports and expanding penalties for publishing drone strike footage. Drone attacks inside Russia have intensified over recent months, frequently targeting military and logistical infrastructure. Yelabuga hosts a facility that produces Iranian-designed Shahed drones, which Russia uses in the hundreds for daily attacks on Ukrainian cities. As of the time of publication, the results of the Ukrainian strikes remain unknown. According to reports from Russian telegram channels including Astra and MASH, explosions were heard in Nizhnekamsk, as the Ukrainian Lyuty drones were spotted there, and in Tatarstan's Yelabuga. Eyewitnesses cited by MASH claimed the drones were flying north, toward areas with suspected drone factories. Ukrainian telegram channel Supernova Plus also shared last night's footage, featuring the sound of a massive explosion, head in Russia's Tver, and of a drone flyby in Saratov. Local residents captured the moment when air defense missiles failed to intercept a fixed-wing drone flying over Tatarstan's Nizhnekamsk. The Shahed manufacturing facility in Yelabuga was last targeted by Ukrainian drones in late May and earlier in April. The Russian Ministry of Defense stated that between 21:50 and 23:55 Moscow time, Russian air defense destroyed 76 Ukrainian fixed-wing drones, 46 over Bryansk Oblast, 16 over Belgorod Oblast, 2 each over Oryol and Kaluga Oblasts, and 1 over Voronezh Oblast, and 9 over occupied Crimea. In the next morning update, the Russian MOD claimed a total of 102 UAVs were intercepted overnight, including drones over Moscow, Tatarstan, and other regions. The Leningrad Oblast governor, Alexander Drozdenko, stated a drone was allegedly shot down over Toznensky district. He also reported restrictions on mobile and internet access in several areas. He also said internet and mobile communication restrictions were imposed in places. The Russian Federal Air Transport Agency, Rosaviatsia, temporarily restricted takeoffs and landings at airports in Nizhnekamsk, Pulkovo in St. Petersburg, Izhevsk, Kirov, and all Moscow airports. Artem Korenyako of Rosaviatsia noted the suspensions were imposed at the height of the drone threat, and that safety protocols such as the standard plan Kovior, grounding all civilian aviation, were enacted in multiple cities. Russian officials have imposed fines and restrictions on publishing any materials about drone strikes. Kommersant reports that regional governments have introduced penalties ranging from administrative fines to criminal prosecution. These penalties apply to sharing data such as footage of missile interceptions or drone hits. In Kaluga Oblast alone, courts have received 42 cases. Other oblasts implementing restrictions include Kalmykia, Tver, and Tula. In some instances, the fines, ranging from 3,000 to 200,000 rubles, 40,550, were issued to residents who shared videos or comments on social media. Media outlets, Telegram channel admins, and social media users have also been targeted. Repeat violations can lead to up to 3 years in prison. Ukraine was once again subjected to a massive bombardment by Russia. Residents of Kyiv recorded the moment when a Shahed drone struck their apartment building. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz. The recent heavy Russian attacks on Kyiv and other cities are once again attacks on the civilian population. These are the most serious war crimes. Not military targets, but terror against the civilian population.
The recent heavy Russian attacks on Kyiv and other cities are once again attacks on the civilian population. Again, the most severe war crimes, no military targets, but terror against the civilian population. Russia deliberately and recklessly attacked the civilian population with numerous drones and cruise missiles. This was anything but a proportionate response to the very precise Ukrainian strikes against military airfields and infrastructure last week.
Moscow said its troops had crossed into Dnipropetrovsk Oblast and were conducting offensive operations in the region, a claim Kyiv quickly denied as Russian disinformation. Russian troops have been pushing toward Dnipropetrovsk Oblast for months, trying to solidify the southern flank to capture Pokrovsk and the remaining parts of the adjacent Donetsk Oblast. Western military experts who spoke to the Kyiv Independent said it was clear that Russian troops would eventually penetrate the southeastern region, but they didn't expect either side to throw a significant amount of forces in this sector, as the capture of Donetsk Oblast remains Moscow's main objective. Emil Kastahelmi, an analyst at the Finland-based Blackbird Group, confirmed that geolocation shows Russian troops entered Dnipropetrovsk Oblast in recent days. Russian troops will likely advance at least somewhat deeper in the coming months, though it won't change the overall dynamic of the front line, he added. Kastahelmi believes that Russian troops could try advancing northwest from the southern flank of Pokrovsk to encircle the city that is already penetrated from the southern and eastern sides. The Russians probably have understood that if they want to make a proper encirclement threat, they need to widen the flanks and then continue operations near Pokrovsk, Kastahelmi told the Kyiv Independent. The Russian Defense Ministry said on June 8th that its troops were pushing forward in Dnipropetrovsk Oblast, a region adjacent to Donetsk and Zaporizhzhia oblasts, but have thus not seen combat actions. It added that the Russian military's 90th Guards Tank Division units had reached the western border of Donetsk Oblast and were thrusting forward into the industrial Dnipropetrovsk Oblast. The Ukrainian military immediately denied the claim, saying that the fighting continued inside Donetsk Oblast, calling Russia's claims disinformation. The Ukrainian monitoring project Deep State has put the proximity of Russian troops to the Dnipropetrovsk Oblast border at about 2 kilometers, yet painting that distance between the regional border and the alleged position of Russian troops as no man's land. Even if militarily not as significant, the Russian penetration into Dnipropetrovsk Oblast would mean yet another Ukrainian region would be now a war zone. It could also help strengthen the Russian negotiation position as the U.S. continues to push both sides to hold peace talks to end the war at all costs. Russia had begun its long-expected offensive in April, but has only made limited gains since then, besides opening a new front in the northeastern Sumy Oblast by occupying a number of border villages there. Kastahelmi from the Blackbird Group said that the Ukrainian defense of Pokrovsk would be compromised if Russian troops are able to widen their flanks, which would enable them to bring their support elements forward. It can mean that they may be able in the summer to threaten the remaining supply routes to the city in a way which makes it even more dangerous for Ukrainian units, Kastahelmi said. Kastahelmi added that it would be an operational success for Moscow if it is able to first expand its flank westward toward Dnipropetrovsk Oblast and then begin attacking northward, while also building on the eastern flank. But he stressed that Russian troops have not been the best at coordinating attacks, even if it looks doable on paper. Jakub Janovsky, a Prague-based military analyst at the Oryx open-source project tracking Ukrainian and Russian equipment losses, said that it likely won't make any difference if Russian troops advanced a kilometer or two into Dnipropetrovsk Oblast. He added that Russia appears to be continuing to rely heavily on small infantry group assaults, either on foot or motorcycles, thus decreasing the use of Soviet-era BMP fighting vehicles or tanks. It seems more likely that Russia will focus on Donetsk Oblast, Janovsky told the Kyiv Independent. But it's entirely possible that if they find a weak spot, they will try to exploit it.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comments section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.